So you just bought an FL5 Honda Civic Type-R and now you're ready to do some upgrades, modify your car, and make it your own. Well, you're in luck. Today we're gonna go over the top 6 modifications you can do on your FL5 that I think really make it even better than stock. This is already a really good car out of the gate, but the aftermarket mods can improve it even over what Honda's engineers have done. Keep in mind, when you take a car like this, Honda has a budget, they have laws, regulations they have to follow to make this car what it is, and they can't make this $1 million car either. Had to come out under 50 grand. So the aftermarket is there to take what is already a great car and further it up and make it even better. And if you own a Civic Type-R, a Civic Si, or the Acura Integra Type-S, we actually carry most of the products I'm going to talk about today on our website linked down below. So with that said, number one of the best mods is an exhaust. As you can see, I got the triple exhaust tips sticking out there looking really nice on this car. It already comes with the triple exhaust, which is a cool touch, but I've upgraded the stock catback exhaust system to AWE's exhaust. Now I started with a touring kit. Right now I still have the track version on it. Either one you go with, this car just sounds so much better. Unfortunately, the stock exhaust, even though it has an active valve, it sounds like nothing. You literally can't hear anything of the exhaust. With the valve opened or closed, it makes no difference. So the stock exhaust is quite lame. It makes it a little on the boring side when you're flooring it in the car. All you hear is the fake exhaust sounds through these speakers on the interior when you're in the R mode over comfort mode, which is a gimmick. So what I've done is added the AW exhaust, and now I can hear the real exhaust tone, and it's got a beefy tone. It sounds really good, really grown up and mature too. It's not just some raspy 4-cylinder. So I've been very impressed with AWE's brand. We do have that one down below, track and touring, which is a great kit. Same for the FK8 Type-R, even the SIs, and of course the Integra. Now with that, you can't hear the fake engine sounds anymore. I've just turned them off anyway. I drive this car in my individual mode where everything's in R mode except the suspension and the fake sounds. And all I get to hear is the really nice crisp exhaust tone with a nicer looking set of tips as well. So I've been really happy with that. On top of that, it doesn't throw any check engine lights because I haven't adjusted the stock downpipe, which is where your primary catalytic converter is. That is, of course, a next step if you want to increase the power with tuning and just get extra out of this car. But a great way to go to just get some good sounds for an upgraded exhaust. And the AW one has been very nice and I've been enjoying it quite a lot. Next up is an aftermarket air intake. So I've done the carbon fiber Armaspeed air intake for my Type-R. It sounds so good. Obviously you can see the filter sitting right here, carbon fiber on the tube. There are so many turbo sounds in this car that wake up, and again, they just add to the fun factor to where you smile every single mile behind the wheel of this car. Now, with that said, this is kind of an open design. It has the heat shield though to block some of that heat from where the filter is sucking in the air. Even with the stock configuration, I had a similar to stock intake on this when I bought it. Still had a closed box that was a thick plastic. Even with an extra duct, the intake temperatures still get kind of warm comparing it to other turbo cars I've owned. So with that, another modification, number 3 on the list, is an upgraded intercooler. Because as much as the intake does add awesome sounds, it doesn't make the intake temps any colder than stock, but it doesn't make them any warmer, which a lot of times aftermarket intakes kind of hinder that. So I like that this Armaspeed intake doesn't hinder anything over stock. It just gives you the awesome sounds and the awesome looks. But if you are gonna be doing a little bit more performance driving, track days, things like that, I would also go for an upgraded intercooler to really get those intake air temperatures in check. Because even with the stock airbox, it's just a bit of a warm running car. Moving on to number 4, which is kind of 2 parts in one, which is a set of lowering springs along with wheel spacers. Now I'm running the H&R lowering springs with 15mm spacers up front and 20mm spacers in back. And the cool thing with this car, it has a factory adaptive suspension. There are different settings. There's a comfort, a sport, and an R mode. Those all change how stiff it rides. With lowering springs like this, you still retain all of those factory settings to where I still have comfort mode and I can still go into my R mode and have that difference. With that, it lowered the car about 3/4 of an inch all around. So we got a really good ride height. It has then lowered the center of gravity of this car too. So not only does the car look good, it handles a little bit better as well. With the wheel spacers, 15mm up front, got the stock wheels sitting nice and flush with the fenders, 20mm in back, got it at the same flush level. I did do a staggered set of spacers to get that spacing look nice. That way they're nice and flush front to back. It looks really good. Now, some people will kind of hate on those two mods, particularly because of reasons that I think are quite outdated. So lowering springs, yes, that technically could put extra strain on the stock dampers. However, you only really see issues when you're talking about a 200,000 mile old car that's honestly on its way out anyways. Cars like this with very low mileage, you're not going to see an issue. Maybe these stock dampers last 100,000 miles. Perhaps with these springs, it might only last 95,000 miles. So that's the kind of difference you notice with that as far as long-term use. With lowering springs, you're really not going to see issues. These stock adaptive dampers are designed to be adaptive. Therefore, when you do lowering springs, they're ready for it. They can handle it. I've done this on multiple cars, never had an issue once. Wheel spacers, same sort of thing. Basically, what the wheel spacer does, it's as if I put on the same wheel with a little bit more aggressive offset. And we see that on the new Acura Integra HRC, which is a step above the Integra Type-S, which is a slight step above the Civic Type-R, all the same platform. But the HRC has these stock wheels, just a little bit more aggressive offset on the same wheel. So doing wheel spacers, you're getting the exact same thing, just a little bit wider track, better look, slightly increased stability, but not too wide to where you're gonna throw off your turning radius or anything like that. The scrub radius won't be affected in any negative way, shape, or form. And on top of that, given these are modern cars, the wheel bearings can handle it. You're not gonna put extra stress on it that's gonna cause any damage. 200,000 mile cars, different story. But a car like this is a great way to really dial in the looks as well as the handling. Moving on to number 4 on the list is something I haven't done yet. However, I have seen this comment probably the most out of anything, which is changing out the suspension module control unit basically from the Honda Civic Type-Rs to the Acura Integra Type-S. Now the Integra Type-S is basically the luxury version of the Type-R from Honda. So Acura has taken this car, made it a bit more luxurious. They've added a lot of different features in the car that you would think would be in a modern car, like garage door buttons, little things like that. But they have dialed in the suspension apparently a lot better to where when you make your adjustments through your drive modes, so right now if I go into customization in suspension, I can go from comfort, sport, and then all the way into R mode. That also changes depending on your drive mode itself. I have R mode, you're gonna have individual, sport, and comfort. So there's 3 different levels of suspension damping that the Type-R comes with. And if you upgrade your module from the Honda version to the Acura version, you're able to have a better range of suspension. This car is pretty tight. If you're in R mode, you know, we did a recent mountain trip with this car and it was too stiff for the road. It was just bouncy, a little bit too harsh. If you're on a smooth, perfect track, this is a great way to go. So what I ended up driving in is having it in my individual mode, which for me, individual mode, I keep my suspension actually in comfort. So everything is in the R mode, aside from fake engine sounds are off, suspension's in comfort, and I actually have steering in comfort too. But in my individual mode on the bumpy mountain road, this car handled great and was also really smooth. So if you upgrade that module, it's like $300 to $400. Comment below for those of you who have done it. Is it literally a plug and play? From what I've heard, you just unplug it wherever it is in the car, plug in the new one, and now comfort mode is softer and more livable. R mode is still stiff and aggressive, but not as backbreaking. So you're able to have 3 really good suspension settings by just changing the computer module to the Type-S from Acura. So that seems like a really good way to further the suspension of this car because, again, R mode really only suited for the track. I'm pretty much keeping it in comfort mode on the road all the time. It's a stiff chassis already to where you don't even need the stiff suspension if you're on a bumpy road. But with the Acura module, apparently you can have a really dialed in suspension, still utilizing all 3 modes. Moving on to the 6th thing, one of the top mods you should do on your Civic Type-R. This is something I have not done. However, I've noticed driving this, especially when it's cold out or when it's raining out and the roads are wet, if you floor it, particularly in 1st and 2nd gear, sometimes 3rd gear, when you hit boost and you lose a little bit of traction, the car just chatters and shakes so much. The front wheels, you can hear them. They don't even just do a smooth rolling burnout. They just chatter and hop and it shakes the whole car. It's really interesting. I haven't owned a front wheel drive car in 16 years, so it's very different from what I'm used to. But if you go with really stiff motor mounts, now one drawback with that, you're gonna hear more road noise, you're gonna feel more vibrations, but apparently you'll have a little bit better traction up front. And again, I haven't really done this or looked too much into it, but there are some good motor mounts you can get that are stiffer than stock, but not crazy to where you're not gonna get the drawbacks. but it'll keep the motor smoother, which is all attached to the transmission, which then sends the power to the wheels, and it'll help give you better traction up front to where you're not gonna be just hopping and shaking all the time when you lose traction. So who would have thought motor mounts might actually help you have better traction up front? When it's warm out, you don't really have an issue, but whenever you lose traction in this car, it is a little on the weird side with how much it shakes the whole front end. Kind of an unsettling feeling, to be honest, but better motor mounts could be an option in the future for this car. So that is about it, the top 6 modifications you should do to your Honda Civic Type-R FL5. We have the intake exhaust springs and spacers on our website, linked down below. I believe for that module for the suspension, you probably got to go to your Acura dealer or some sort of Acura parts store. And then the motor mounts, as well as an intercooler, maybe I'll have to look into that to see if we can carry them as well. And quite honestly, could be a sweet mod for this. And keep in mind, with cars, while they are engineered very well, they gotta fit in the bubble of what the manufacturer can afford to spend and keep all the regulations in check. And that's why there's the aftermarket. We can tweak them, fine tune these cars, make them even better. And if there wasn't room for improvement, we would never see cars evolving over time. But we can take that into our own hands by upgrading our cars and making them that much more enjoyable, fun, and just better in general. So there are my top 6 mods. I've been enjoying this car, and the mods I've done to it, I think I've woken it up quite a lot to make these smiles per gallon even bigger. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for plenty more content. Check out our website, linked down below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.